It's the number one question as a Colorado meteorologist that I'm getting right now is whether or not you can turn on your sprinklers. Now, I did this about 2 weeks ago, and I had a different answer than the one I'm going to give you. The answer I'll give you now is that I think in most cases, you can probably turn on your sprinklers across the Denver metro area and across eastern Colorado. Here's why. It's April 22nd. You might be going, oh, it's Mother's Day. That's the usual cutoff. Or usually you wait until the last freeze. The forecast here, very confident that over the next 7 to 10 days, we are not going to drop below freezing. There's a slim chance that perhaps the middle of next week we may do so, but that looks very, very unlikely. Point being, once we start getting next week, is the start of May, right? It's April 22nd, so we're less than 10 days out from the start of May. 10-day forecast takes us into the first days of May. Once you get into the first few days of May, it gets very difficult for us to get a hard freeze. Now, when you're turning on your sprinklers, if you briefly drop down to 31, 32 degrees, which tends to happen this time of year, yes, that's not great. You cover up your backflow preventers, though, if you turn on, and that will help alleviate your issues. But if you drop down to 25 or 20 degrees, that's where you maybe start talking about some of the water that freezes on over, and that's where you start talking about perhaps some real damage to those sprinklers. But if you briefly drop down to 31, even 30, 29 degrees, you're not going to be talking about major issues with those sprinklers. It's, again, when you start dropping into the low to mid-20s, that's where you start seeing some of those big issues. But my point is this time of year, it's very hard for us to drop down into the low to mid-20s. Once we get past April, it's pretty tough for that to happen. And our average last freeze is actually on May the 5th for us here in Denver. Our average last measurable snow is on April the 28th. So we're at about the point with a warm and pretty dry-ish forecast over the next few days. This would be the time where I would probably say go ahead and turn on the sprinklers. You could probably do so if you want to be safe about it, which I totally understand. I'll tell you what, I'm not personally turning on my sprinklers probably until the second week of May. If you want to be safe about it, wait until after Mother's Day. But if you want to go ahead and maybe give those trees and those lawns a little bit of extra water here, it's been a fairly dry last week or two. You may want to go ahead and do that now. So again, you're getting the timid thumbs up on turning on those sprinklers.